the Mike DeFoy Show. So anyways, here's 20 traits and skills that you need to be a great dungeon master. Here we go. Ready? Number 1, be patient and understanding. Acknowledge and take the time to listen to your players. Try to understand what they're trying to say and reply in a timely manner. Just don't leave them hanging. I know sometimes I have to get back to people in private messaging and things like that, and so hopefully they understand. The Dungeon Master's got a lot of stuff going on, so you got to be on your toes. Number 2, graphic arts. You got to know how to use Adobe Photoshop. If you don't, you're going to be severely limited because you do things like token tweaking. You got to make handouts. You got to make maps, props, blah, 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 blah. So you get the picture. Number 3, storytelling, the gift of gab. You got to be able to do that. Number 4, acting, being a ham. I imitate a good drunk person, even without the alcohol, of course. Having a sense of humor and all that always adds to the fun. Organization, number 5. If you're not organized, you will be at your wit's end. Being a DM requires record keeping, period. Number 6, leadership. To play, you have to have players. To have players, you have to work to find them. Once you have them, you have to make it clear to them through your own personal conduct that you've got yourself together. That's as far as it goes. Number 7, be fair but firm. Understand that you're the final decider of everything. If you lack life experience or a broad knowledge base, use Google when necessary. Delegate to your out-of-turn players to assist you in finding information to speed up the process. Don't bog down gameplay thumbing through books. End of story. Number 8, preparation. Read the module or the session planned activities. Have all your game elements identified and ready to go. Have your encounters, traps, and other things figured out. Don't wing it. You're just asking for trouble. Number 9, coordination, deploying. Roll 20 essence at the right time, your tokens, your sound, etc. Honest to God, it's like putting on a Broadway production. Make notes to yourself right on the GM map level as to music selection by name, sound effects by name, etc. This will be very, very helpful. Your players won't see it, and it'll be kind of your cues as to what to do when. Number 10, common sense. D&D emulates real life. If it really makes sense to you for the time being, because you don't know what the actual ruling is in the books, and your players tend to agree, use it for now until you can clarify things during the next session. Part of the fun is learning to properly implement the rule set, which ties into the next point. 11, making snap decisions to keep the game flow moving, but correcting it later if necessary. It's your game. If up is down and down is up, that's okay. Make it up as you go along. It's kind of like playing one of my favorite games, Magic the Gathering. Throughout the session or the campaign, for that matter, all you're doing is systematic laying down parameters that exist so that you're abided by, right, wrong, or different. And as a DM, you enforce them until you change your mind for some reason or another. This can be a difficult thing for players to comprehend. Just remind them that you know the rules say this, that, and the other thing, but in your particular setting, this is how things are going to be. Instead, the sooner they grasp a concept, the sooner you can get things moving along. Number 12, don't waste time. Handle things via chat and Skype or outside the game together altogether. Don't be unprofessional in front of your players, especially in front of people watching Twitch. It's just unacceptable. 13, don't have an axe to grind. Don't throw your players under the bus. Forgive and forget. You bury the hatchet. The sooner you can leave it be, the sooner you can all get back to playing the game. 14, don't try to kill your players. Let them live to fight another day. Of course, you can only do so much. Now, you can only save them so many times. At some point, they're going to paint themselves in a corner. They're given directives, and they're not going to follow the directives. They're going to do their own thing, and they'll face the consequences according to the module. But there's nothing dishonorable about retreating, this let me tell you. 15, only a couple more, hang in there. Spell out the rules of conduct beforehand. So in this case, we've got an interesting thing, a little handout called the DM Player Notes. Show that to the group. And that just is your basic expectations. You know, hey, don't do this, don't do that. We expect you, if you're not going to be here, give the DM 24-hour heads up. Don't spring it on at the last moment. Just things like that. Anyways, make your 16, make your handouts as you go. Otherwise, you'll go nuts. If Savava doing the Twitch stream can maybe start at the top where the players' character sheets are, just slowly scroll through all of the handouts so people watching the Twitch stream can see how much stuff we got in here. There's a lot. Also, DMing takes time. Don't expect instant results overnight. That's just not going to happen. Practice makes perfect. Like I said, I've been doing this for over 30 years. I've been doing this for a while, and I still don't know how all there is to know. It's just impossible. There are plenty of opportunities for a learning moment. Enjoy each one. 17, mix it up. Your role-playing, R-O-L-L, and your role-playing, R-O-L-E playing. People like a mix of both. Talk to your players in character. This kind of spices it up a bit. 18, if you're playing at home with your peeps, give XP for dressing the part or bringing props. Magic users would show up in a robe. I had this one who, at the local convenience store, found a beautifully carved wooden staff that he, for like, I don't know, like $15 or $10, and brought it in and carried that. He wore a black robe, and he had the spell book and all that. I had another guy dressed up as a fighter. He'd come in with his armor on and his sword and all that. Give him XP for that every time they do that. 19. When a female character speaks, be sure to use a female character voice. Have fun. Dwarves should be rough and gruff. Elves should be somewhat eloquent, thin, sounding wise, and all that kind of stuff. Have fun with that. And lastly, the most difficult one of the traits, and this is gonna be difficult, but I hope you guys will understand that, of course, that the DM is not throwing you under the bus, not trying to axe grind and all that kind of stuff, but dispute resolution. This is a very, very difficult subject to talk about, but it needs to be said, otherwise bad things can and usually do happen, especially when your players coordinate their own extracurricular activities, get into a spat, and then you, the DM, have to smooth things over just to get them all back to play on the day and time that you set up. My recommendation, help your players understand what you did to find and vet these types of players, which is this. One, you go to Roll20, and I've got the wrong one here. Give me just a second here. This has been revised. I kind of cleaned this up a little bit, so let me find the right one. The revised one. This one right here. This is the one. This is the one I want to use. Give me just a second here. I got to shift gears. Yes. Dispute resolution, both in and out of game. D&D is a game, and like any sport, emotions can run high, and it may come out in your session. So if you should find yourself in this situation, be prepared to resolve it quickly so that it isn't allowed to escalate and cause rifts in the group. In other words, do not be a bystander and sit there. Listening to it occur and continue on without acting and intervening. Also, when you DM for a lengthy period of time, you will find that you will unfortunately be called upon to exercise this ability even for situations outside the game. This typically happens as a result of when players coordinate their own activities. Players become upset and then may not wish to attend your sessions because the other offending people, quote-unquote offending people, are there. It's unfortunate, but will eventually happen. The best advice I can give is to share with your players these facts and discourage them from initiating or engaging in interplayer sessions where there may be too much of a risk that will ultimately jeopardize the integrity of the main group. If so, then the right thing for them to do would be to professionally bow out and excuse themselves from that situation, especially when there's so much at stake. Traits of not being a DM, one of course is if you're medicated, clarity and fast processing of thought is required and critical. Without it, you're limited. Number two, if you have a short attention span. If you have difficulty following a thought through to completion, DMing isn't for you. Three, if you're like my grandmother, my late grandmother, who was argumentative, she enjoyed a good argument or for the sake of arguing, you don't want to be a DM. If you possess any one of these single traits, no matter how much you want to be a DM, do not pursue it. You will be unhappy. The people who show up for a brief period of time and then eventually leave will also be unhappy, and it'll be a waste of everyone's time from the get-go. Anyways, I just wanted to say that and share that with you. I know it's a difficult subject matter, but it's worth saying, and sometimes as the DM, you got to say some things that obviously are not